What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Dynasty Mafia podcast. We're back, baby. It's week 1, ready to kick off the NFL season, just 2 days away. We are with you here on September 6th. It's a Tuesday. With me, as always, my good man, Keenan. How are you tonight, buddy?
I'm well. I'm excited. What are we, 48 hours? A little less than 48 hours till the Bills kick the Rams' ass. Excuse my language. But I'm doing good, man. Just finished our last draft of the season. What'd you think about your team?
Man, I wish I was my last draft of the season. Still got another one tomorrow night. But no,
what does that put you at?
For redraft, I think I only put me at 7 this year. So that's actually bad. Pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good for the redrafts.
That's not bad for you.
It's not. But I can't believe that draft weekend was already here. It's the biggest weekend of the year for me. One of the biggest weekends of the year. Also right around my wife's birthday. So it always does get a little bit fun to deal with. But man, I just want to talk about so many things. I want to kind of reflect on it. Talk about draft day, talk about what we noticed, talk about what's going to happen in the season. We're going to bring back the stresses and impresses. It has been so long since we could bring that back. So we're excited to talk about that. Obviously, any news and notes, not too much to talk about coming into the week besides, updates that we've been waiting for now for months and months on end. But we got that. We also have our starts of the week, a lot of players that we want to look into. We got some waiver wires, so there's so much going on. We're really just kind of going to dive right into it, Keenan. Draft weekend.
Yeah,
we were loaded with it.
Yeah, you were at my house for what, 8 hours? And
yeah, we had to cram two drafts into one, which was pretty fun. But yeah, 8 hours, a lot of food, a lot of fun. So that was a good time. But a lot of fantasy. So we got the Triple F down. What were some things that you might have noticed right off the cuff now that you kind of had some time to reflect on these drafts and sit down and say what happened?
I guess, for an unimpressive rookie class this year, I guess a lot of the rookie players went a lot earlier than I was expecting. We talked about it earlier this year, how, next year's the better draft class. This year's not that impressive, but I mean, I've seen like Dameon Pierce go in like the 5th round. I've seen Breece Hall go 4th, 5th round. Drake London in the top 10 rounds. Who am I missing? I know there's Walker, Seattle's running back. I've seen him getting drafted before Rashad Penny, who supposedly, is Seattle's starter come this weekend. Yeah, so that's the one interesting thing I took out of it. I was like, whoa. I thought this draft class wasn't that impressive. Why is everyone jumping on all these guys? But that was a little shocker to me. But other than that, everything else went as expected. I expected a lot more wide receivers to go in the 1st round than usual. Besides the 3 top running backs, Taylor, Eckler, and CMC. But years past, you had, Henry was in the 1st round, but I've seen him slip in the 2nd round depending on what type of style league it is. But years past, or the top 6 picks would be all running backs. The top 8 out of 10 would be all running backs. And then also Travis Kelce. I feel like people are starting to get a little scared of Travis Kelce. I've seen him start slipping down a little bit, where I've seen him in years past going in the late 1st, early 2nd. I've seen him go in the 3rd, seen him go in the 4th. But yeah,
we just did 2 QB draft and he went in the 4th.
He went in the 4th, and George Kittle went like in the 10th.
Yeah.
Which is I'm like, whoa, what is going on here? Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, even Kyle Pitts wasn't getting as much steam as I thought he was going to get.
Well, you and I said that earlier. You love Drake London. I love Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
It's very tough to see both of them having a great season with the whole situation that they have. And one of them is going to have a great year. I obviously, we both think it's our own players, but I do think with Pitts is having that veteran presence now in his second year and that hopeful connection he got with Trubisky, at least from what we've been seeing. I know London has been doing well too. But yeah, we're going to see what's going to happen with those rookies. And I agree with you. Some people were definitely reaching on rookies, and rookies are always sexy, but this year doesn't seem like the year to be sexy. Like I had number one pick in 2 dynasty drafts this year, and I was not happy to have that number one pick. I went with Burks in 2 of them, to be honest with you, over Brees Hall. But Burks, another example. He's someone who actually has probably taken the biggest hit of a rookie, but he was still getting drafted, which I was kind of surprised that people were still taking the shot. I mean, me personally, I obviously am, but I didn't get him in one of the leagues because someone grabbed him in the 11th round, and I was shocked. But quarterbacks as well. Quarterbacks are going even lower and lower in drafts, and it's
like a cycle. It's like a cycle. 1 year quarterbacks are taken early, then they're like, okay, we'll wait till the second round, then they'll go later, and they'll be back at it's just a cycle. Wait till Burrow and in the next wave of talented quarterbacks, if Lawrence becomes what he's supposed to. I think you'll see that cycle again where quarterbacks are being taken early.
Yeah, I agree. We had my dad in one of our leagues that was threatening to quit the league if you would.
He held Josh Allen. Held him hostage. Lucky I like Ralph.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do in that situation. We might have to have some.
You think he would have really quit?
He added a co-owner, oddly enough, this year, and then started throwing around the words "I quit." So I don't know if he was trying to suit up this next co-owner for taking over the league. We're gonna have to talk to. That's
a daily thing I deal with in our dynasty league.
Being a commission is a lot of fun. People don't realize. But CMC, I was surprised how many people took him at 2.
I was
with everything.
Who else would you have taken?
Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I was surprised maybe that a wide receiver route wasn't the case, and people being maybe more risk averse at 2 with the last couple of years of what CMC did. I personally did take him at 2.
So did I. Didn't I take him in WWE?
You took him before me in their league, yeah. But I'm not too worried. But most years you kind of see that injury to a player, even a star player, and it will push them down a few notches. And CMC, that didn't happen. I was the 5th or 6th pick in 5 drafts. It was amazing. But I thought I was going to get CMC in one of them, and I didn't.
He went early. Yeah.
He did go early. All right, so I think we talked about a few things with that draft class, or with those drafts, but how many players overall? I mean, we obviously took a lot of them, but what players did you see most frequently on your lineups, on your rosters over these course of leagues since these last few days?
I've been on a Dameon Pierce train before Dameon Pierce train was a thing.
That is true.
I got him in Dynasty in all the early Dynasty drafts that we did in the 3rd round. All of a sudden, you start seeing him creep up the 2nd round, and then I saw late 1st on one of them. And now, this past month, all of a sudden, all this hype on Dameon Pierce starts coming up. So you know what I did? I drafted him in 5 out of 9 redraft leagues, and I don't know why I did it. I don't know if it's going to bite me in the ass later in the year, but I couldn't stop drafting him. I'm like, someone on the radio I heard said he's their best running back since Adrian Foster.
Arian Foster?
Arian Foster. Why did I say Adrian? Arian, yeah, Foster.
It's funny you say that because he was undrafted, right? So that was a big thing coming out with Arian Foster. I'm pretty sure he was the first 1,000-yard back undrafted.
Are you talking about Foster or Pierce?
Foster.
Yeah, I think you're right.
But Marlon Mack getting dropped, Philip Lindsay getting dropped.
Well, they got put on the practice squad. Then they dropped him again.
Yeah, but I think it's extremely telling that Houston is willing to give the reins to Dameon Pierce. I 100% agree that people are reaching. A 5th round for him is certainly a little high because you're almost drafting him at his ceiling when you're going somewhere like the 5th round. Because the 5th round, you're looking at players. I just wanted to scroll. I mean, are you going to take him over Travis Etienne, over Josh Jacobs?
Yes.
Actually, now that I'm looking at Josh Jacobs, yeah. I mean, they have just Zamir White. David Montgomery, yeah, you would. Yeah, I guess now I'm looking at it. Well, his ranking actually doesn't show that. But for like Elijah Mitchell, Chase Edmonds, AJ Dillon, for example, Cam Akers,
I take him over Cam and Edmonds.
Yeah, see, I would probably have all 4 of those over Pierce. I like what he brings to the table. He's getting a lot of touches.
The thing I like, that's what it is. That's what it is. And Edmonds and Akers, they're both they both have crowded backfields. Where I don't know who I mean, yeah, right now you think that Edmonds and Akers are starters, but are you 100% sure that they're going to start all the games? Or is Mostert going to steal the job from Edmonds eventually? And McVay is such a wild card with those running backs. So, I mean, no one there to threaten Pierce. Where there's threats in Edmonds and Akers backfield.
Davis Mills is a threat.
I'm thinking David. Listen. Davis Mills might become a good quarterback. Maybe he's not that franchise type of quarterback, but I mean, at the end, he showed a little bit of flash.
He did. He has some tangibles that can become a good quarterback. There was flashes of brilliance with him. I wouldn't go as far as brilliance, but I don't know. He's on a team that's just willing to ship off a lot of their players, and everybody around him is just kind of gone. And he's got Brandon Cooks, which is great, and Cooks is able to still get his targets. But I hope Pierce can work off of the Davis Mills, because Mills can run, so that kind of helps. But I hope that he will be able to work around that and still get at least 4.5 yards per carry, because he's going to get a lot of dump offs in the backfield. Like, let's be honest, he can catch the football, and he's looking at 40 to 50 catches.
Yeah.
So you get that on top of 200+ touches. I still think 5th round was a reach at the time that it happened, but that might wind up being a good spot for him.
Who'd you end up on your team the most?
Well, I mentioned that I was 5 or 6 in all of these drafts, so it was really tough for me to stray in each of them from the typical players that I was going for, because I kind of already had conviction on a lot of these guys. They're going in the areas that I like them. So for me, AJ Brown, I'm really heavy in AJ Brown this year. I took him a lot with my 2nd or my 3rd pick. My first pick was Jefferson or Chase all the time. It wasn't a running back at all. So I started with, I think I want to say I started with at least 3 wide receivers in almost all of them. No, I lied. There was a one that I took 2 running backs. So most of them I did go all wide receiver heavy. One of the drafts I didn't draft a running back for the first 7 picks. So I noticed a lot of running back value as we did get deeper into the draft. I didn't think I would, but when we actually started getting into the thick of it, there was a lot of running backs that I liked after round 10. And Miles Sanders, my goodness, I know I'm talking about 2 Eagles. I'm very high on the Eagles offense this year. You're going to hear me talking about them a lot. But Miles Sanders is just getting criminally disrespected. I'm going to preach about it for a while, because I just got him in the 11th round for a starting running back who was one of the most efficient running backs 2 years ago. Efficient. I'm not saying you're going in there and he's getting 275 carries. I understand that. But Doug Peterson's gone, man.
But this new coaching staff has yet to commit to him.
They have, but he was also injured. Like when he got, and I think that Sirianni was not happy he was injured. They brought in a couple of players, they drafted a couple of players, and Scott had his flashes of brilliance. But that nobody's there is more talented.
Well, what about your boy, Trey Sermon?
They brought in Trey Sermon now. That was a surprise cut. A lot of 49er beat writers were on Trey Sermon a lot. So yeah, I mean, is he going to come over? Yeah, then he was cut literally 2 days later.
But they said he was the best player at training camp.
Yeah, and I read that, and 2 days later, literally, he was cut. So I don't that, but to me, I wonder though, was that because he was actually doing well that they didn't want competition with Elijah Mitchell?
Why would you trade on that?
I don't know. It's training camp. Like you're seeing everything. Preseason. I don't think they're getting anything for him. I don't
know. Hold on. Get a 5th round pick for him. He's on same thing with the Raiders. What they did with that offensive lineman.
Yeah, but he was a former first round pick. Sermon, I believe, was their third or fourth round
but
pick. Didn't
still,
show anything last year.
okay. I guess it's a third.
Anyways,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
we'll
Whatever.
pass to that. But hopefully, what I mean is, I don't think he's going to challenge Sanders to a
No,
point where
no.
anything's
He's on,
going
he's
to be a
on the
problem.
practice squad
Scott,
anyway.
yeah, Scott's not going to challenge him, and he's got nothing but green turf in front of him because
What about
you have.
Gainwell?
I'm not worried about Gainwell. You got Jalen Hurts who can run the ball. You got AJ Brown on the opposite side of Smith, and you have tight end. Why am I blanking? Help me out with the tight end. Oh, we're doing it late tonight.
Got
We're doing it late tonight. Got it. Thank you. We're recording late tonight. I'm sorry. But you have all of them. They're going to run across the field like crazy. They're going to be able to extend the field because you can't stack the box against those kind of players against Philly. And Miles Sanders, who is a career 4.7 plus runner, daylight, man. So, but to get off of the Eagles, I have also found myself. Who did I find myself with a lot of? It was tough because there was so much value as we got deeper into the draft. Yeah, Kenneth Walker. I did grab a lot of Brian Robinson and Kenneth Walker. Because I was going a lot of wide receiver heavy. Marquise Brown. Let me talk about Marquise Brown. That is who I have the most in all my drafts as well. Him and AJ Brown. So I went Brown twins. But that first 8 weeks, Keenan, without DeAndre Hopkins, on a team that loves to throw the ball, with a quarterback that's very accurate, why wouldn't you want that number one wide receiver? It doesn't make sense to me that Marquise Brown was going. He was my 5th pick at the earliest in all of my teams, unless I reached for him in the 4th, but I believe he was my 5th in most of them. And to me, that's still crazy because I want to say that was near wide receiver 18 or 19 that he was going. So you're going to tell me that these other 16 wide receivers are going to be getting 10 plus targets because their other wide receiver 1 is not there. And they have a quarterback that traditionally hyper targets their wide receiver 1. So Marquise Brown to me is a big buy, a big winner for me in the whole offseason. Unfortunately, with Hopkins being suspended those 8 games, that will help out Brown. I think that's going to allow the whole offense to figure themselves out. It's going to help the chemistry with Kyler Murray, who is a fantastic quarterback. And to be honest, the offense needs to figure themselves out. It's been 2 years in a row now of Arizona starting out hot and just falling. Yeah. So Cliff Kingsbury might be on the hot seat.
Oh, no, he is.
Yeah, I don't know. Kyler's great. I love Kyler so much. Another good value. But that's a few things, a few players that we had gotten, or I had gotten.
All right, let's shift gears here and talk about the Jets a little bit. The Jets suck. But what's going on in that backfield there? Hall and
talks about
Carter
splitting carries.
Yeah. What are you doing as a fantasy owner here? You got to leave Carter on the bench, or both of them on the bench, right?
I don't think I've seen a running back with the draft pedigree and the talent of Breece Hall
since Travis
Etienne. No, I'm just saying the situation that they have for him to get drafted where he did, how great he was in college, and then to be told that, hey, you're still going to split carries.
And you traded up for him?
You're still not good enough. Yeah, you traded up for him. Like you're still not good enough to beat our – I mean, Michael Carter is great. I loved him last year. I was very big on Michael Carter. But clearly the Jets – I highly doubt the Jets made that draft pick in round 1 to decide, hey, we want a 1-2 punch. I mean, I know they had the draft capital. They were able to get Wilson also. But I personally feel like there was other needs they could have had than running back if they felt that Michael Carter was still capable of being the number 1 or taking at least 50 to 60% of the load.
I thought Carter looked good towards the end there.
I agree with you. My Breece Hall shares hate myself, but
I was shocked when they took Hall. Shocked.
So was I. I thought the Bills were going to try and get him.
Yeah, I guess. But that kind of throws a wrench at a lot of fantasy owners. I don't know what to do there. The reason I put that question out there was because I have Hall and I have Carter in a couple leagues. I'm sitting them, especially this week when they're playing the Ravens. I think the Ravens. That's one of my stresses. I'm not touching him. I'm not touching him. I'm not touching him in daily. I'm not touching him in any. I'm not putting him in my starting lineup. But eventually, I think probably week 4, 5, 6, around there, you're going to see Hall eventually take over that backfield. I think he has to.
I that's exactly where I kind of lean. When it came to how I was looking at it, I wasn't drafting both of them. If I drafted Brees Hall, I wasn't drafting Michael Carter later. I don't do the handcuffs for my same teams. But vice versa, if Michael Carter was going to be 4, 5, 6 rounds later, I probably wasn't grabbing Brees Hall. But I do agree with you that Brees Hall is going to be the player at the end of the season that's probably going to have 65, 70% of the workload. Yeah. But also, if they're a team that decides they want to run the ball 30 times a game, I might be okay with that.
Yikes.
Yeah, it's scary for anybody that's investing and hoping for a breakout of Elijah Moore, hoping that Garrett Wilson does something. Corey Davis, I don't think anybody has him, but if you do, there's a lot of offensive pieces on that squad. That is there enough pieces of the pie to go around, because there is nobody in the middle of that pie. That middle of that pie is raw. That was not cooked enough in the oven, and they need a quarterback. I don't think it's Wilson. If it winds up being Wilson, good for the Jets. We hope so for fantasy, but I know I tangent off the Brees Hall question. I'm still probably drafting Brees Hall. Well, you have Hall, but if you have him, you still got to play him. Like, the capital you had him, he's probably in your starting lineup, if not a flex. If you have other running backs, maybe start him and take a wait and see approach. Let me ask you this question. How about this week would you rather start A.J. Dillon against Minnesota or Brees Hall with the Ravens?
That's a tough one. It's a really tough one. I think you have to start A.J. Dillon just because I'm assuming that the Packers offense is going to be better because they have Rodgers, obviously, even with that horrible or young, I guess, inexperienced wide receiver core. Insert Sammy Watkins and Lazard outside those couple rookies. So I'm assuming that they're going to get in the red zone more. So I got to go with Dillon. Just
okay. What about Kareem Hunt? Oh, no. Your boy, Dameon Pierce. Would you rather play Dameon Pierce?
I'm benching Dameon Pierce this week. They're playing the Colts. Colts front is really good. Defensive front is really good. And I think it's going to be – I think the Colts are going to want to make a statement after last year's Week 17 or 18 loss, whatever it was, against the Jags when they could have clinched the playoffs. I think they're going to want to put points on the board. I think Houston's going to be playing catch up.
I'll side with Pierce on that one, just because of the touches.
So you're taking Hall, or you're taking Pierce over Hall?
I would start Pierce over Hall just because of the touches for this week.
Yeah.
But on the touches side, how about this one then? Kareem Hunt or Brees Hall? Hunt's playing against Carolina.
Kareem Hunt. Listen, Kareem Hunt puts up numbers when he gets that ball. He's splitting carries with Chubb. Yeah, he's done it pretty much for the last 3 years. But he finds the end zone somehow almost every week. It seems like it, at least. I take Hunt. Hunt puts up fantasy numbers when he's healthy. And I think it's Hunt's contract year. Watch. He wants to get out of the Cleveland. He wants to be a starter, obviously, somewhere, and he wants to get paid. And I know everyone's concerned, 27 years old, running backs, that's when running backs start declining or whatever. Kareem Hunt doesn't have the miles that a regular 26, 27-year-old starting running back has.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm on the same side there, especially like you said with the touchdown. I don't see the Jets scoring many points in this game. But like my envision of what the Jets are going to do is like what I just said. I think it's, Salah wants to run the football. If they were fine starting Flacco, I think that's what's going to happen. He is, but he comes from a system that's went to the NFC Championship coming from the 49ers.
It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter.
You're not winning. You're not winning.
He brought I thought he was going to bring this energy to the Jets. They have so many great pieces, for fantasy wise. That you want them to be, like the Bills offense or the Rams offense.
Yeah.
But he's so like listening to him and reading about him, I'm like, dude, this guy, he's stuck in the 80s.
Seems like he does motivate people, especially the defense. Hopefully that'll happen this season.
No,
But speaking, maybe not. Speaking of the 49ers, Jimmy G, this happened a little after we were last chatting. Jimmy G restructured his contract, re-signed with the 49ers. 1 year, $6.5 million. So he's getting paid like a backup. I was shocked. I was shocked to see that.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people were.
Did you not see the video of him practicing by himself?
Oh, yeah.
In training camp?
I said to you, dude, this guy's gone. There
was no coach around him. They had like a strength and conditioning intern or whatever with him, getting him the ball or whatever, and he was just practicing by himself as the team is on the other side of the field. I'm like, okay.
It's like that Simpsons part with the guy with the tether ball and he's just playing by himself.
By himself, yeah. That's what he was doing all month of August. I'm like, all right, so he's either going to Seattle, Cleveland, or Carolina. Carolina got Baker. I'm like, all right, he's going to Seattle or the Browns. And I'm like, wait, they're not going to trade Jimmy G in the division. So he's going to Cleveland. But then I'm like thinking, wait, is he going to go to Cleveland? Because what if Jimmy G goes 7-3 while Watson is suspended, or 7-4 or whatever?
Yeah, it's 11 games.
Yeah, do you create a quarterback controversy? Because you kind of do you.
That's why they haven't.
Yeah,
because he paid him the money.
So was there not a market for Jimmy G, or is Trey Lance struggling? Because a couple preseason games that I saw, and you take the preseason pledge. Don't ever judge anything. Don't ever take the preseason for anything. But some of the games I saw, I'm like, ooh, this guy doesn't look good. And I even put a bet on one of the games. Took the 49ers. I was like, oh, Trey Lance is starting the whole game. The other team's backup is playing. I'm going to put some money on the 49ers. They got shut out the whole half that he played. And I'm like, wait, something isn't right here. What happened a few weeks later? They brought in Jimmy G. And just think about it. All the top quarterbacks that were drafted recently, Lamar got drafted by the Ravens. They got rid of Flacco. Bills. Who the Bills have? They had Tyrod. They didn't re-sign him. They got rid of him. Name another young quarterback that was drafted that had.
Oh, I mean, there's been Goff. Goff's a good example. Well, actually, Goff got paid and then he got sent away.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of young quarterbacks that were drafted that had a veteran quarterback and then the team got rid of them. Like Flacco got.
I mean, New England did it forever. Garoppolo had it happen to in New England, and how many guys do we think was going to take him over? But I think the big thing though too is, like they said that they spoke to each other and they figured out the plan that works best for Jimmy's future. So that is the biggest part to me that I took to where, like you're saying, are they worried about Trey Lance?
I think
because what's best for Jimmy's future is him getting paid. How does he get paid? It's not on the bench. So is there? Yeah, like it's showing as a starter that you can lead and you can still win and you can still prove it, even though he went to NFC Championship or whatever. But point being, like, how long is that leash with Trey Lance this year? I truly believe I don't think they're giving up on Lance after this year, regardless of anything. I think this year is an all-in year for San Francisco. And I think after week 4 or 5, if he doesn't have it right, Jimmy G's coming in because they can't be out of the playoffs by week 8.
Outside of the quarterback position, take the quarterback position out. How many teams have a better roster than the 49ers?
There might be 5 or 6.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I'd still say that.
I was thinking 1. The Bills.
Really?
The Bills. The 49ers have a great defense. They have one of the best tight ends in the league. They have one of the best wide receivers in the league. They have a great running game. Their offensive line is really good.
They are.
I really don't think many teams outside the quarterback position have a better roster.
And that's why they're always efficient and people play great.
And this is why I think they brought Jimmy G in. I think they're a Super Bowl contender if they get good quarterback play. Now let's say Lance struggles. You're not gonna waste another George Kittle year. You're not gonna waste a prime Debo Samuel year. You're not gonna waste a good defense. You're gonna want to. You're not gonna want to go through the growing pains of a young quarterback.
I mean, I agree with that. So, like, fantasy wise, that's kind of where I'm getting to is if do you have are you looking at any of these 49er players different? Like, are you having any more confidence in Kittle, in Debo? Because
No,
to be honest, they've dropped. Like you just said, Kittle went in what round 9
no.
or 10 in the draft. I mean, that's crazy, but more so like even round 4 or 5, he's been going, and that didn't happen last year, any years before. And I guess I'm just wondering, like, to me, I think I'm looking at it more securely to where I feel a little bit better having Kittle and Debo and Ayuk because I think there is a contingency plan if
Yeah,
anything goes down.
yeah. Over
But
Mullins.
what do you mean? Like
Mullins
instead of wait, what is he still in there?
No, he got traded to the Bears or something.
Yeah, I was
Like
I thought he
that.
was
He
somewhere
got
else.
traded or something. Yeah, but no.
But I'm just saying there's a contingency plan that
Yeah.
if Lance doesn't work out and he's not doing well, and it might be a shorter leash to where by week 4 or 5,
Yeah.
that those 49ers might become a big bargain. So we'll see how that decides to play out. But I was just kind of
I'm gonna go pick up Jimmy G in our 2 quarterback league that we just did.
might not be too bad.
Yeah.
Michelle signed with the Chargers. I wasn't too
cares?
concerned. I think Isaiah Spiller is still the good backup there. So keep an eye out on waivers if Isaiah Spiller's there. The big thing I wanted to talk about, 2 things left, is Treylon Burks, regardless of how bad he's been, where we are seeing that he's been, and what the Titans have been treating him as, they're still saying he's going to have a big role in the offense.
I wonder why, Antonio. Who else is there?
Well, they've actually had a bit of talks about a few players, blanking on their 5th round wide receiver, I think that they were putting over him.
Exactly.
I know I shouldn't be, but he was getting reps over him. But obviously, Robert Woods being the biggest benefactor there. I'm excited. I've been drafting him everywhere, dynasty, redraft, whatever. But I still think that, yeah, kind of like you said, like regardless of how bad he's doing, he still has to be better than the 5th or 6th round players. Like I think it's punishment more than the actual what he's been showing up as because he's been injured too.
You and I talked about this. He was in the 4th quarter of a preseason game. Like, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
that's horrible coaching. No matter how bad he is, he needs to play with the ones. And finally,
and not in the 4th quarter.
No,
that game because
in a preseason game. Yeah,
that's your pedigree, man. That's your 1st round pick. Like you can't mess around. If he gets injured, like Vrabel's gonna get eaten alive from the GM.
Vrabel's an idiot.
I'm sure he did, but that's what I'm saying. Like
he's a horrible coach.
Maybe he was just testing out punt returning, which would be really nice for any leagues that have, you get rewarded for.
He shouldn't be testing out punt returning in a preseason game in a 4th quarter.
Hey, he wants to go against the scrubs, I guess. Yeah. So hopefully he's not the scrub. Well, who would you rather? Now, let's say maybe in some deeper leagues, who would you rather start this week? How about Devontae Parker or Treylon Burks for New England?
Ew.
Come on, man. Number 1 for Mac Attack.
Ew. Oh, God. That's horrible. I'm going with Burks. Just because you got Hunter Henry and you got who's the other tight end over there in New England?
They still have Jonnu Smith.
I besides Robert Woods, there's really not much going on in Tennessee.
Neither of them will probably throw a lot either.
Those are such similar teams.
But you got the 12, 14, 16 team leagues that they're going to have to make these decisions.
Yeah. I go with Burks. I really think he's going to end up being really good. I don't know if you remember the TikTok video I made in before the draft. I had him as my number 1. I really think he's going to be good. I'm going with the unknown in this one, where we know what Devontae Parker is, but we don't really know what Burks is going to bring to the table.
What about Burks or London? I would start Burks, by the way, against
London, I think.
Against Parker as well. London, I think. One more. Elijah Moore or Treylon Burks.
Who's playing quarterback?
Let's call it Joe Flacco.
Burks.
Ooh. Interesting. See, I would go more there.
Not a big.
Just because they'll be chasing some points, I think, as opposed to Tennessee.
Titans will be too. Who are they playing?
I'm really excited to see what Derrick Henry is going to be able to bring to the table this week because, dang, it's I missed him so much.
He's quiet this whole training camp. That whole team has been quiet, besides the Burks news.
You're right. They have, Tannehill. I haven't heard much coming out of his mouth. But just even about Derrick Henry in general, like they haven't really been talking him up too much. They're playing the Giants, by the way. Okay. So that's going to be he might go. I think he's going to have potential for 175 yards week 1, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. I think he's going to have a monster game. Looking back at my rankings, I didn't rank him at that. I did actually have him second. I thought I started him with 4th, but then I changed my mind because I saw again he was playing the Giants. They have a chance for rain though, so we got to keep an eye out. Keep an eye out for the weather. You got to though. You got to keep an eye out for the weather. There isn't too much we're looking at to be affected this week. I want to say Cincinnati and Pittsburgh, mostly the Northeast. They're looking at maybe seeing some rain around then. But yeah, you shouldn't have too much worries there.
Who gets in? Who steals their job back first? Willis or Pickett?
Oh, that is a very good question.
Willis looked good. Willis looked good.
Willis did look good, but I think Trubisky.
Oh, Pickett did look good too.
I'm sorry. I think
Tannehill.
No. What's his name? Good Lord. I keep mixing up Trubisky and Mariota. So Mariota, I think that he was always the plan for this year. So I'm going to say it's going to be Trubisky that'll lose it. You said, what'd you ask me?
Willis.
Oh, I thought you were saying Ritter. I was putting Desmond Ritter in my head. I'm so sorry.
No, Willis.
I'm so sorry.
Willis.
No, it's Tannehill's playing all year.
Yeah. And
I know
Pickett's going to get it by week 6.
Yeah, I think Pickett will be in by week 6 because you have a very same thing we were just talking about with the 49ers. Like Pittsburgh is a very high-powered offense. They just got that raw pie in the middle. They need to find a quarterback that's going to fill the hole. Unfortunately, I don't think it's Kenny Pickett, but if it is, they did it before. They did it with Big Ben. So
yeah,
if they can figure it out.
Who was supposed to start week 1, and all of a sudden, like, oh, Big Ben starting. Who was that? Or did he get in? Or did he get injured? This is like going back.
Oh, you're talking about Charlie? It was
like going back 20
Tommy
years.
Maddox?
No.
Or Charlie Batch?
No. Look it up.
Oh, Cordell Stewart.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Yep. Remember he was supposed to be a starter, and then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, Big Ben's the starter. And then they went like 15-1 that year.
Yeah, he had one of the best records.
And then they lost.
They won his rookie year. No,
they won the second year. The bus is the last year. Super Bowl in Detroit.
There you go. Yeah. I don't know. I'm worried about Pittsburgh. We were just talking earlier before the show, about Najee, which we'll talk more about him in a minute. But I'm just worried in general about the whole Pittsburgh offense. Deontay Johnson was falling a lot. Chase Claypool was virtually double. I mean, I don't even know if he was drafted in some.
Yeah, undrafted.
I'm sure he did. But I don't know what to do with them. Pat Freiermuth got some love last season. He did well, ended strong, and now nobody really cares about him. He was going tight end 9, 10, 11, 12. So I think that Trubisky's just bringing a very big negative impact. But
even though Trubisky
Pittsburgh as a whole, and Najee was still a first round pick, it's just tough.
Even though Allen Robinson had his best fantasy year when Trubisky was his quarterback.
No.
Yes.
No. Allen Robinson had his second best year. Don't forget Blake Bortles. Don't ever disrespect.
Oh my God! Like well, so
1,400 yards and 14 touchdowns. Allen Robinson had.
That was Blake Bortles and friggin' Robinson won me a fantasy league.
Yep. Yes, he did. Yes, they did. I still hate Blake Bortles to this day. But yeah, man, that's Najee Harris. He had 7 games with 41 yards or less last year. 7.
Yeah. Well, that's a tough division. Did 6 of them come in within the division?
I know 2 of them did. So there's a chance that was, but regardless, like he was still a first round pick, and you got half your games like in a tough division. You already know. He had 5 games over 100 yards, so that kind of was helpful. But I don't know. Najee Harris can be someone I'm going to watch for this week. But since we're talking about the Steelers, I think it's about time we get into our stresses and impresses. Keenan, what do you think about that?
Go ahead, start with yours. I'm going to look up Najee Harris game log real quick.
Yeah, you have fun with that. So my stress, we'll start with the stress. I want to do that because we're talking about him right now, and it's Najee Harris. I'm not going to go too far in depth more than I just was because I was kind of gloating on him. But he's playing against Cincinnati. I just talked about potential for rain. So, yes, he may be getting the ball more, but it's going to be a little tougher. Ball might get a little bit looser. But he doesn't – he's got a boomer bust right now. Like, he is a very scary player to have on my roster because he's going to get a lot of touches, but is he going to have the stack box all the time? Is he going to get 3 yards a carry? I mean, there was multiple games that he only had 12 carries or less because they just were not doing well. So, like, is Mike Tomlin going to go that route again if they're just getting blown out? Like, are they just going to keep throwing the ball and they're not going to establish the run at all? Since Najee Harris is like their most talented player on the team. Not saying anything to Deontay Johnson, but he's just not as explosive as what Najee could bring. But, I am very concerned this week for Najee. I told you, Keenan, where'd you think I started ranking him? I ranked him 25th when I started doing everything. And I was like, that's not fair. That's horrible. I'm going to look like an idiot. I can't do him 25th.
I don't know.
I brought him up to 15th.
I'm looking at it. Go ahead, finish up.
Yeah, I brought him up to 15th because I got him a little closer because that put him in the Travis Etienne, Josh Jacobs, Chase Edmonds range. So, because if he gets a touchdown, he's already going to be a top 24 back. So, there's a good shot for that coming that he could get a touchdown, but he just did not do well. Against Cincinnati, the first game, though, he had his career high catches, 14 catches for 104 yards. That's not happening again.
I didn't realize how bad of a season he really had last year.
Yeah, and still finished with 1,200 yards. It was crazy.
Yeah, well, 7 out of his 17 games, he finished with 50 yards or less.
Mm-hmm.
In those games, well, also, if you count the playoff game, 8 out of 18 games, he finished with 50 yards or less. If you count those games, he only had a touchdown in one of those 8 games.
Yeah.
So, man, he is either a boom or he's busting out.
He reminds me a lot of Antonio Gibson, but Antonio Gibson didn't have as much production in touches. But Antonio Gibson is now being found in like round 8, 9, 10, 11. So the problem, obviously competition is the thing too. So he doesn't have anybody there, but Najee could be a league winner this year. Like he's going to get 350 touches.
I guarantee,
or at least 300 plus touches, but he probably will get north of 325. And if he can be efficient, man, he can have 12 touchdowns. Yeah, he'll challenge Jonathan Taylor.
I guarantee you, if I showed this game log to someone and hid the name of the player, they would never guess it's Najee Harris. That's how bad this game log is.
It's not good. Yeah, I was gonna do a little write up about it, but it was only like a week ago, and our draft already happened, so we were past that. But he was a big buyer beware for me. Big stress for me this week. So Keenan, why don't you give me one of your stresses? Well, we'll do a little alternating here.
All right, sounds good. So you had Najee. Well, we already talked about one of mine. I had Breece Hall. He's playing the Ravens. Usually the Ravens are really good defensively, really good run stopping team, and that whole Carter and Hall splitting carries really scares me. So, and we don't even know who the quarterback is there. So I can see this being a blowout and the Jets trying to play comeback in the whole second half. So Breece Hall. I'll do my second one. Devin Singletary. He's playing the Rams. Come on. I mean, you can't. This is gonna be a shootout. 1 and 2. The Rams front is ridiculous, and the Bills had. I guess towards the end of the year they kind of did, but they still haven't proved that they can run the ball efficiently. So I'm staying away from Devin Singletary as well.
I was going to say he was number 2 running back the last 5 weeks.
Yeah,
so you say it's going to be a shootout, but he's not going to be part of it, huh?
Yeah, he's got to contribute in the pass game for him to be fantasy relevant this week, I think. But we all know who they drafted and what they hope to get out of James Cook. But I just think they're going to go. The Bills, they have a bad taste in their mouth. I think they're just going to go down the field the whole game and try to make this into a not old fashioned, I guess. Old fashioned would kind of help Singletary, but I think it'll be a shootout, and I think Gabe Davis and Diggs are going to have, and Knox are going to have a field day.
I hear you there. My other stress is going to be DJ Moore against Cleveland, and I hate saying it. I'm very big on DJ Moore this year. I'm very excited for what he's going to do, but this is a revenge game for Baker, and I'm not necessarily thinking that is going to be a good thing for Baker, because that defense knows Baker better than any defense around, I would say, because they're playing against Baker all the time, right? And Baker didn't do too well in the latter half of the season with Cleveland, and just in general with his career with Cleveland. And I'm just really worried for how that's going to end up today. I wonder if he's too much, or this week, I wonder if he's too much in his head with everything going on. There's a lot of emotions that could be there. Who knows how the crowd's going to be. And actually, they're home. So
it's in Carolina, yeah.
Yeah, it's in Carolina. But I'm just really worried for what DJ Moore is going to become. CMC's back. So we're going to have CMC going. Robbie Anderson's back. He's now healthy. So now you have 3 wide receivers that are competing with CMC as well. I'm hoping that DJ Moore can get a touchdown. That'd be amazing, but I don't see it this week. Big stress for me. I did rank him at wide receiver 20. So I could see like a five catch, 60-yard game, unfortunately, from him. But that's.
I think you're gonna eat your words on that. On that and Baker, I really do. I think I got Carolina.
Cleveland's got a great defense. I think they could win. I very much agree that Carolina could win, but I just don't think DJ Moore is going to be the benefactor of that. And you need him to get a touchdown, because I don't think he's going to get you 10 catches and 140 yards. Cleveland's got a good defense.
I just think corners. Yeah, I think Baker's going to come out balling. I really do. I always like Baker. I only hated him because he went to Cleveland. I hate that city. But I always like Cleveland. I always liked Baker when he came out of college, and I think he's gonna wanna show up and show his whole team what they're missing out.
Well, good luck to Baker. I was not a fan of him coming out, so that does.
Of course you weren't.
Impresses. I'll get it started.
Go ahead.
AJ Brown. Talked about him earlier, man. He's at Detroit. He's going to blow them up. Keenan, I asked you this question months ago. Let's hope you remember the question or the answer. Do you know who the godfather of Jalen Hurts' daughter is?
AJ Brown.
It is AJ Brown, and this daughter was born before he was in Philadelphia. They have been friends for a long time, since college, and it is their first game. They have had a whole offseason to work on this.
Didn't AJ Brown go to Ole Miss?
He did go to Ole Miss, but
so how do these guys know each other?
They knew each other. They just do, and that's all you need to know. And that's why Week 1, AJ Brown is going to come out with 100+ yards and a touchdown. And my man is going to be a very fantastic impress of the week. They're going against Detroit. Detroit's abysmal. It's Week 1, so they've had so much time to plan for this.
You better hold kneecaps doesn't hear you.
Hey, hopefully he'll do well against the run. Maybe they'll work off Miles Sanders a little bit. Who knows? But no, I expect AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts to come out hot. The first target of the game, I wouldn't be surprised if it's literally a 50-yard bomb to AJ Brown. He's with Devontae Smith. I promise you, record that, because it's happening. The first play of the game.
It's being recorded.
That's right.
I can't wait till it's a handoff.
Hey, then Miles Sanders will go 50 yards and he'll pitch it back to AJ Brown and he'll run it in. So I'm super excited for AJ Brown. So make sure you're all. I know that you're starting him because you have him, but like my excitement is I think AJ Brown has a very good shot at being top 5 this week. Detroit allowed a lot of big plays last year. They had so many points scored against them, and Philly's going to make that happen. They're coming out and they're ready. Keenan, your other impress, or your first impress.
Well, I'm going to go with another wide receiver. I think Tyreek Hill is going to have a great game against New England Patriots. Tyreek Hill got paid. He's going to want to show that he was worth every penny that they're paying him. And I think that New England is one of the worst teams in the league. They lost their top corner to the Chargers this past year. And I think the Belichick era is over there in New England. So I think Tyreek Hill is just going to dominate this week. My other one is Alvin Kamara. Thank God he's not suspended with whatever the hell happened this past offseason. But he's playing another bad run team, which he usually dominates, the Atlanta Falcons. So I got Kamara. Just,
I love that play.
Maybe not scoring 50 yards and a touchdown on the first play, but I think he has a great. I think he has a great year. I'm really mad at myself that I didn't get more of him in the second and third round, because that's how I played it out in my head, was to take a wide receiver and then grab Kamara on the swing back. But yeah, I think he has a great year, and I think he has a great week one.
Yeah, I agree. I have him as my third running back. I'm very excited. You're right. He dominates Atlanta. It's pretty crazy how much he dominates them. But who's going to dominate? I'm going to tell you right now, my other impress, Eli Mitchell. I know I said Elijah earlier. Eli, I apologize to you. I did see that you have corrected yourself to being Eli. But you're at the Chicago Bears, one of the biggest. Sir.
Is it Elijah?
It was Elijah, and then now I'm seeing Eli around, so he made his name Eli. So he's Eli Mitchell.
Well,
but
I'm Ken.
Eli is a man.
I'm Ken from now on.
I'll address you as Ken. Show me those washboard abs. Eli is a man's man, and we spoke about the 49ers earlier. They basically laid out the red carpets for Eli Mitchell. He is going to be their bell cow. I don't think there's going to be much of a rotation going on at all in there. They might spell him a little bit, but I think he might be getting a 65-70% of the carries, which is going to be fantastic. Going at Chicago defense, that is just they're in shambles. That's all we can really say. There's not a lot going on for them that's good, and I think that they're going to get up, and they're going to get up early, and they're going to focus on the run. I don't think Trey Lance is going to need to throw the ball more than 20 to 25 times, which means Mitchell's probably in line for 20 plus touches. 130, 140 yard game and 2 touchdowns. I could see as a possibility. I'm not going to call that, but I do see Eli Mitchell being a very, very big impress this week. He's going to start out strong, and have a lot of managers regret that they didn't draft him when, in the 5th or 6th round.
Those are the two, him and Kamara. I'm really disappointed I didn't draft more.
Yeah, I agree with you. I didn't do it either, and too much with all. I did it in a couple. I know, drafting all these running backs, but yeah, their schedule is just very, very favorable. And I'm just, like I said, there is no competition there. So I'm excited for what he's going to be able to become. And all right. So that's, I have AJ Brown, Eli Mitchell as my impresses. Keenan has Alvin Kamara and Tyreek Hill. My stress is Najee Harris and DJ Moore. Keenan's Singletary and Breece Hall. All right, Keenan, let's talk about, we're going to wrap the show up in a little bit here. I want to talk about a few matchups. I want to talk about some of the key things that you might be looking for in some of these matchups. For example, I want to start with the Denver and Seattle game, Monday Night Football. Russell Wilson's going back to Seattle.
What a horrible primetime game.
See, that's what I thought you were going to say, and that's why I want to talk about the game. I think this is actually a fantastic game.
Oh, you do?
Because, do you know why? Yeah, of course I do. Because I think this is a primetime game where you're going to have all the fantasy managers who have the biggest questions about these two teams all offseason. Because you got to be honest, these are some of the two most mysterious teams we've been dealing with in the offseason. Russell Wilson goes to Denver. You have all these people that are on one side who think Russell Wilson is going to shamble. He's going to fall. They're not going to make the playoffs. And then you have, the right side here where they think that, well, it looks just like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. That offense is going to be great. Javonte Williams comes in. They're going to be the division winners. And then you have Seattle, who is now trying to replace Russell Wilson with fantastic stars around them, drafting Kenneth Walker, Tyler Lockett, having DK Metcalf. So I think it's going to be fantastic that in week one that we all get an opportunity to see how these offenses are going to work. And it's not happening on a Sunday at 1:00 when you have 8 other games going on. It's happening in prime time, and we get to all watch at the same time and kind of get a take off of that. That's why I'm excited.
So it'll be a
It's
good
not.
half.
I think it'll be a good game. I really do think it'll be a great game. You might be right though. Denver might whoop them.
I could see it being like 24-3 at halftime.
I don't know if it'll be that bad, but I think that Seattle's going to want to show up to play too.
17-3 at halftime.
It's not it's not like, the Chiefs and Packers, but we kind of know Aaron Rodgers is going to make it work with them, and the Chiefs are great. They have some question marks, but they're both great teams. So that's why I'm excited for these lower level teams, because their fantasy impacts. You're talking 6 to 8 players that are involved. Noah Fant as well. He's in Seattle. He gets to show up because he's not getting a lot of love.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but I honestly, if you're looking for a great fantasy game, like where you have a lot of question marks, and you were looking for something that's fantasy relevant and a good game, that Packers Vikings game. One, you have the Vikings new coach, offensive mind coach, supposed to be throwing the ball down the field, a million times, as he said. And also you have the Packers, a lot of question marks on their end. Is AJ Dillon their starting running back? Is Jones their starting running back, or is he their slot guy? Who's playing wide receiver? Is it Sammy Watkins? Is it Lazard? Is it the 2 rookies? Are they getting that out? Which I don't think they are. I think Rodgers wants Watkins and Lazard as top options. I think there's a lot of fantasy questions there, and I think that would have been a great primetime game also.
That's a pretty good one. Who would you rather start, Adam Thielen or AJ Dillon?
Adam Thielen. He torches the Packers. He's one player.
Adam Thielen or Aaron Jones?
Aaron Jones. I still think right now I think Aaron Jones is Rodgers' favorite target now that Adams is gone.
A lot of people are saying that. Dude, Sammy Watkins is about to have 3 touchdowns this week, and nobody is talking about it.
Yeah, he's about to have 3 touchdowns this week, and then he's going to take his vacation in week 4 and be done for the season. What Sammy Watkins does.
Take advantage. That's all I'm saying. Make sure you pick up Sammy Watkins, get him in your starting lineup, and just sit back and relax. That's all I'm saying. I want to backtrack real quick to the Seahawks game. I apologize. Would you rather start DK Metcalf or Jerry Jeudy?
Oh man, probably DK, just because someone's got to catch the ball. I mean, not someone. They have Lockett too, but I hate the whole like, just because the quarterback sucks doesn't mean that the wide receiver is just going to disappear off the face of the earth. DK Metcalf is a top 10 wide receiver in the league. Mm-hmm. So I still think he's going to put up it. He's going to have his games where he puts up numbers. I want to say DK. I want to say Sutton. I want to say Jerry Jeudy, but I think all 3 of them have question marks, but I'm going to go with DK.
I would side with Jeudy because I love the breakout for Jeudy potential. And it's definitely close, though. I'm going to side with Jeudy. What about Kenneth Walker or Melvin Gordon?
They said I'm kind of worried about Williams owners. What I'm hearing is that they love Gordon over there for some reason now.
They got to say good things about him. He's the change of pace guy. They're trying to probably trade him again. Who knows? But no, I don't know. I have a tough time believing that. Javonte was in last year. Javonte kind of won the job near the end of the year.
Yeah, but that was a
Melvin Gordon walk.
That was a different coaching staff.
It was, but they let Melvin Gordon walk, and then they decided to bring him back. And it's like, well, did you really bring him back because you needed someone and you didn't like the pieces, but he knows the offense? I know it's a new staff, but he seemed to get integrated pretty well. But again, talent rises to the top, and I don't see a world where Melvin Gordon really affects Javonte past a couple weeks. And if it does, if people are really worried and Javonte gets 2 or 3 more carries than Melvin, you better go trade for Javonte right away, because that is not going to last. There is no way. That dude's old body is not lasting the whole season anyway. Yeah,
but back to your question, I'm gonna start Walker. I can't trust Rashad Penny.
That's fair. Yeah, and even what can we trust Kenneth Walker's hamstring?
I don't know, but I mean, Rashad Penny did have a great year last year towards the end.
Yeah, he killed it.
I don't know, man. You know what I'm regretting? You know what? Do you remember what I traded Rashad Penny in one of our leagues last year before the whole what was it, Carson's neck injury?
Yeah.
I traded him for for fab dollars. I ran out, and we had this silly rule, that you need to put at least $1 down to, pick up any player. And it's an IDP league, and I need the kicker and all this stuff, and I'm like, well, I'm never going to start this guy, and I think it was Skip gave me like, I don't know, 100 fab dollars. And at the time, I'm like, oh, what an idiot. Now I'm over here like, look,
you better use it wisely.
Yeah, it's gone now. I probably didn't even use all $100, honestly, or whatever was traded to me. But at the time, he took advantage of me.
Oh man, let's end it with.
How about a waiver pickup? Anyone that you were seeing on the waiver?
Yeah, so double check your waivers because after the draft, people always tend to miss. Some guys get scrolled over. Some people don't realize you got to check your waivers all the time. But
Robbie Anderson.
Oh, you like Robbie Anderson?
His analytic numbers were really good last year. The problem was Sam Darnold was very awful last year. And you're putting in Mayfield, which I think he's more accurate than Darnold. So I think that's, grab him if you have someone going that's out this week like Gallup or whatever, you put him on IR. Put Robbie Anderson on your bench because if he blows up, you're not wasting any fab money or wasting any waiver pickups. That's what I try to do. I try to grab someone that I think is gonna, have a great week one and where I don't have to waste any resources to get him in on Tuesday. Come Tuesday.
Oh, that's not a bad play. Mine's Josh Palmer for the Chargers. I just think in general he's going to ascend. And Keenan Allen's time is kind of coming to an end. So you have him who's, I believe, 30. Mike Williams is 27, going to be going on 28. So they need somebody else to step up. He's a big wide receiver. They run through wide receiver. They run through wide receiver very often. Yeah. So I'm seeing him undrafted a lot. And I'm very surprised because you see other through wide receivers getting drafted. And I think that Josh Palmer is 100% worth a look. Another player, Tyler Algier, the running back for Atlanta. Like I'm scooping him up in every single draft. Just path to the top, kind of like Dameon Pierce in Houston. I don't think Cordell Patterson's going to be their answer, and they drafted him. He's their only true running back, and I think he's going to start getting a lot more action. And if Keenan, like you're saying, if the Falcons start doing well and London is looking good, Pitts is looking good, it'll clear it up for him.
Yeah. You know what I'm excited for this year? Knock on wood. No COVID issues.
Man, I hope they seem to really get a grasp on it last year. I think the longest some players were out were like 3 or 4 days.
Yeah.
Maybe miss one game at most. So
won't have to worry.
Make sure you still have COVID on IR. Don't not allow that.
Won't have to worry about the Tuesday or Wednesday night games.
That's true.
Those Wednesday night games were horrible.
They were, but it was fun that one time. What was it? Yeah. Tuesday to Sunday we had football.
Yeah.
It was like 1 week.
You had the Bills who lost against the Titans, and then you had some random Wednesday game. But it was like a 5:00 start, which was so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not remember that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that's why, and like everybody in the West Coast was complaining so much because a lot of them were working.
Yeah, and then you had Thursday night, and you had Friday college, Saturday college, and whatnot. But
I miss it.
Yeah. Well, then in our lifetime, I think you'll have NFL games at least 5 days a week.
We might get somewhere like that.
Because I mean, you're at what, 3 already?
Yeah.
I mean, I can see
the holidays are starting to take over.
I can see I can see the NFL taking over Friday nights. What's on Friday nights? So you have a Thursday night game. You might as well put a Friday night game. I mean, yeah, if you're a Mac fan,
All right, give me a sleeper before we get out of here. Give me a sleeper for this week.
why don't you go since you probably have one?
My sleeper for the week. I'm between a couple. I was gonna say let's give 2 or 3, but I think it's just so tough. Like I keep bringing myself back to the Eagles, and I want to say Miles Sanders because he's ranked 33rd. Like I just don't see a world that Miles Sanders is going to be ending as anything worse than a top 24 back, and with a potential to be a top 12 back. If he can get 15, 18 touches, get 100 plus yards and a touchdown, that's going to be pretty close to an RB1. So I'm going to go with Miles Sanders.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with Mike Davis.
I know I caught you on the spot a little bit with that one.
I'm going to go with Mike Davis. If Dobbins doesn't play.
Or Kenyon Drake?
No, I'm going with Mike Davis.
You want to go Mike Davis? Okay, all right. You think he's going to be over Drake? I feel you. I think do they have him starting right now?
For this
week, I think they have him over. That makes sense. All right. I take that back from you. Okay. Mike Davis.
That's a mess.
It is. I got Dobbins in a lot of the leagues.
If he misses significant time, that is a mess.
Yeah, so will my fantasy.
That is a mess. Quick story. I had Dobbins in a keeper league, 11th round. I went heavy on wide receivers. Didn't draft another running back till Kareem Hunt or whatever. I was so happy. I'm like, I got Adams, I got Chase, I got Cooper Kupp because I had a couple keepers in there, and I was like, perfect. Dobbins will be a great, top 10 running back. Now all this crap coming out this week.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for some owners, but I would rather they hold him off than rush him back. So if he's actually injured, but I mean, Harbaugh said if he's healthy and he's looking like he's good, we're going to play him. So
he didn't look good in that one video.
No, he didn't.
He was doing drills. He was like limping. I'm like
he got real mad at the person that tweeted at him about it, or that tweeted about it.
Did he?
Yeah, he replied back and he's like, made a comment about like, don't you tell me how to walk. like insinuating that he was walking normal.
Oh, okay. All right,
JK.
I see you.
Yeah, and then it was literally like a day later that they said they don't know if he's got any issues or not. So we'll see. But man, previews are back.
That running back class, besides Taylor, has been rough.
Yeah, and even hopefully Cam can get himself together this year.
Yeah, I mean, Hilaire, Akers, Dobbins. That draft class, what a mess. Could have had Jefferson. God damn it.
Could have had Jefferson. Yeah, you could have. All right, man. Well, let's wrap up the show. I'm very excited that we get into some previews. Next week's going to be a whole new world coming off of week 1. I have no words right now to figure out how we're going to come off this. I can't believe we have football on Sunday. Just speech. I can't believe football tomorrow. I can't believe the Bills are tomorrow. Like we have not had the Bills being open. Like the NFL
tomorrow. It's midnight. You're right. It's tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yeah, it's technically Wednesday right now.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm excited to share that with my family, my kids. I think the Bills are going to win. Like I really do. I think we didn't talk about Stafford, how the Rams are concerned. They're going to monitor his shoulder all year, and it's like.
Elbow.
Oh, okay. Or elbow, sorry. So I don't know. I think the Bills, though, I think they gotta come out and they're big favorites for a reason, and they want to show everybody why they are. I think the Rams will be pissed at their dogs. I think it was just a really good game.
37-20.
Oh.
Bills.
All right. I won't say mine because you gave us the homer record already, so I'll just let it be there.
37. What's yours? You had.
I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game like everyone's hoping for.
You had a -16. You had the Bills -16 in one of your prop bets or whatever.
Yeah, that was for fun, but it was I don't know. I could see like a 31-24 game. Well, I guess that is still pretty high scoring, but these days 30 plus from both teams is high scoring. But no, I think it's just going to be great. That's all I want. I want a great game. I'm not going to be surprised if the Bills lose. I don't think either team's going to be upset if they lose. I mean. Nobody wants to lose, but in the end of the day, you're both going to make the playoffs. They're both great teams. So hopefully we get the first season kicked off right. But I'm just excited to be back to fantasy, man.
Yes,
excited to get to chat. Excited to get to reflect next week.
Excited to kick your butt in all these leagues.
Yeah, one more draft left tomorrow night. All right, everybody.
luck,
Make sure you're following the pod on Twitter at Dynasty Mafia _FF. Make sure you're following Keenan at Keenan _716, myself, Antonio Denisi FF. Make sure you are checking us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Dynasty Mafia Podcast, which I actually found out we don't get a URL title like that until 100 subscribers. So every click helps. Make sure to check the like. All right, click the like button, hit the bell, let you know every time we're coming on here. So help us get to that 100 so we can have our cool little URL there. But other than that, ask us any questions on Twitter. We'll have our some information posted Sunday morning. So good luck to you guys. Hopefully y'all start out with a W. And with that being said, Mafia out.